Good morning, Hank. It's Thursday, September 6th. I'd like to congratulate you on another great song, although as one commenter pointed out, I'm kind of scared of the dark side of Hank Green. I mean, seriously, Hank, the last time I saw you that angry, I was learning that being the older brother isn't necessarily the same thing as being the stronger brother. Some people were terrified of your homicidal mania, but not me, Hank. I know better. You're just trying to toughen up your image. It's like when Britney Spears released Toxic. I do, however, have one small criticism of your song, Hank. Scorpion's fatality was clearly taking off his mask and then breathing fire so that you become just bones. Sub-Zero's fatality was the ripping off of the spine. Duh. Hank, the vitriolic hatred for Hummers you expressed in your last video reminded me of something. The Brotherhood 2.0 book club! That's right, Hank, like jeans with high waists, the Indonesian economy, and the acting career of John Travolta, the Brotherhood 2.0 book club is back! I've just finished reading Deep Economy by Bill McKibben, the book that you assigned me back in, February. Hank, I really did like the book. It argues that more is no longer equivalent to good, and that economic growth, as we've always constructed it, has stopped giving us what we're looking for. I have to say, Hank, that it is hard for me to imagine a world that doesn't rely upon economic growth to determine success. But McKibben makes a pretty compelling argument that by doing this, we're really screwing ourselves for the future. There was one thing right at the beginning of the book that really got to me that I want to talk about. McKibben pointed out that if people in China owned cars at the same percentage that people in America own cars, then the total number of cars in the world would immediately double. I went ahead and I did some math. Actually, I didn't do the math, I called Daniel, and I found out that if everyone in the world owned cars at the same rate that Americans do, then the number of cars in the world would be like 5 times greater than what it is now. And our atmosphere couldn't handle that much carbon dioxide. In very short order, human life would become impossible. And that's what troubles me, Hank. That's what troubles me about my whole life in Indiana as compared to my life in New York. When I lived in New York, I had an apartment. I think everybody should have a safe place to live. I had access to excellent public transportation, which I think everyone should have. I had places where I could afford to buy food, which I think everyone should have. And I had a good independent bookstore, which I think everyone should have. So when I lived in New York, all of the things that I had were things that I think everyone should have. Now that I live in Indianapolis, I own a car. But I don't want everyone to own a car because then, you know, I would die. That would suck. So if the world would be destroyed by everyone owning a car, how come I feel entitled to own a car? That bugs me. Hank, what I kept thinking when I was reading Deep Economy is that I want to be living a life that everyone could live without the world ending. I mean, there's something pretty sick about living a life that's dependent upon an underclass. Anyway, Hank, thanks for the recommendation. I definitely enjoyed Deep Economy, even though it didn't contain any, love stories or car chases or metaphors about existential isolation like most of the books I like. I'm also excited to announce the next book in the Brotherhood 2.0 book club, which is going to be Paper Towns by me! Hank, Penguin won't be publishing Paper Towns until September of next year, but I'm going to make a draft of the book available to you and to Catherine in a couple of weeks. How I'm going to do that without textually communicating with you remains to be seen, but I'm sure I can figure something out. I'll see you tomorrow.